Hello, I'm Chuck Phillip with South Alabama Home Inspections. Welcome to another edition of Southern Home Talk. This is Hurricane Ready, the day before the storm, part 4. This is also episode 43. I hope you take the time to watch this short presentation and also take the time to watch the others we put up. We're trying to make these short and to the point, so please stay tuned. Okay, so we've been designated ground zero for this storm to hit. We now have about 24 hours before it makes landfall. Hopefully you already have all the main staples you need: flashlights, batteries, canned goods, water, and all the other things really you should have prior to the season starting. But these are some things that you should be doing within 24 hours before the storm hits. The first project I would start would be hanging my shutters, because you don't really know what kind of problems you may have getting these hung, and it can take longer than you think. So I would probably start hanging shutters first. If you have a backup generator, now would be a good time to go out and start it to make sure it fires up. Also check the oil level in it. Some of these generators have a radiator. You might want to check and make sure that it's got plenty of fluid in the radiator. But if you have a portable generator, you also want to make sure it starts as well. I had mentioned this in one of the previous episodes about these roof turbines. And so if you do have one of these on your roof, I recommend you go up there or have someone who's capable of doing this to put a garbage bag over it and tape it real tight at the base. These things have a habit of flying off the roof, and also during horizontal rain it can get through these vents. If you have any outdoor furniture, probably the best way to secure this is to take ropes and tie all these chairs together real tight. And if you have umbrellas, I would take them down completely. But also, if there's any other loose items laying around your yard, front, back, sides, or deck, you need to probably take those and secure them as well. Now would be a good time to start charging up all your rechargeable batteries and devices. And also, if you have one of these jumper boxes, now would be a time to charge it to full capacity. I'd mentioned this in one of the previous episodes, but it's probably too late to run to the store to get this product by now. If you have room in your freezer, probably the thing to do also is start making ice. I'd mentioned in the previous episode about these two items here, about saving milk jugs and milk cartons. You can fill these up with water and put them in the freezer and make block ice. But also, if you got an ice maker on your refrigerator or a portable ice maker like with the picture on the right, you can start making and bagging ice with these two products. Now, say you should do this 24 hours before the hurricane hits, but it's possible you may have to do that even before then. It's really probably a good idea to keep your tanks capped off, especially your cars. But also, if you haven't done this, this would be a good time to run to the gas station, start filling up gas cans for your generators. Really, I said in the previous episodes that the better practice is to really use metal gas cans. These things are kind of hazardous, especially the more you have, the more dangerous situation you got. And you also don't want to store these in your garage if you can help it. Really, the preferable place to store this is away from the house, preferably in a shed. But if you do have a portable generator, now's the time to probably go out and get some gas for that. If you don't have a garage to keep your car in and you got a heavily wooded lot, hopefully you'll have a neighbor who has an empty garage who may let you store it there. But I do know of some people that take their cars and move them to safer locations like parking lots and schools where there's no trees close by, and maybe hitching a ride or getting a neighbor to drive them back to the house. Well, hopefully you're familiar with where and how to turn off the power and the gas and maybe the water at the front of the street. I recommend you go and look at episode 32 and 33 at our YouTube channel, Southern Home Talk. It kind of goes through about how to do these projects here. There may be an emergency arise to where you may have to come out and shut the power off to the house or maybe even the gas. So become familiar on how to do this. If you have time, it'd probably be a good idea to start trimming these limbs back off of trees that are close to the house. Like I say, these things can whip pretty violently during a storm and can damage the roof, and also limbs can come off the tree itself and land on top of the roof. If you have gutters, if you got time to clean them out, now would be a good time to do that. But also know this as well, during the storm, you're going to have, especially if you have a heavily wooded lot, you're going to have tree limbs hitting the roof, and it's going to sound like a cannonball hit it. It doesn't really take a large limb to make a huge noise inside the house. So try not to get over panicked about that. Usually you'd be surprised when you go out and hear this. You would think you'd have damage to the roof, and you look up there and really all it is just a bunch of small limbs. If you haven't met your neighbors already, now would probably be a good time to reach out to some of them. There's a chance that you may have to rely on them and they may have to rely on you. And there's really nothing better than neighbor helping neighbor. So yeah, I would definitely reach out to my neighbors prior to a storm hitting. Now this may seem silly, but really if you have time to do this, cut your yard. And the reason why you want to do this is because after this storm passes, you're going to have a lot of debris in it, and it makes debris cleaning a lot easier when the grass is cut. It just makes it far easier. Unfortunately, we have to adjust our schedule to the storm's arrival. Usually these storms don't show up at a convenient time, and sometimes they may not show up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And if that's the case, you may have to adjust your sleep schedule in order for you to be awake when this thing hits. You really don't want to be sleeping when this thing passes over, because you may have to make a split-second emergency decision. The main thing you want to do is stay informed. Sometimes these storms take a last-minute jog to the left or right, and sometimes they'll quickly intensify. So now's the time to make sure that your weather radios are working. I talked about in one of the previous presentations about the Midland weather radio, but the main thing is just stay tuned to what's going on. Thanks for watching, and please check out the other episodes on hurricane readiness. And also please subscribe to our channel, Southern Home Talk. We're committed to the issues that affect us here in the Deep South. Thanks.